Let's take a look at the top graded West Virginia players both on offense and defense from the dominant 37-7 win over BYU in the ninth game of the 2023 West Virginia football season. Let's go! What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Jordan Cruz back here with the Country Roads webcast. And before I get into this video, just want to give you guys a quick reminder. If you would do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Giving us a like on this video will really help not only its performance, but future videos performances here on the channel as well. And if you're a West Virginia fan, Big 12 fan, college football fan, and you haven't already, be sure hit that subscribe button. Helps us and it helps you, as it helps get more of this Mountaineer sports content out to Mountaineer Nation. Having said that, let's get into it. All right, and in a contest where West Virginia's defense really had a bounce-back performance to the tune of pitching a shutout for the majority of this game, especially when the starters were in there through the first three quarters, why not start off with the top 5 highest player grades on defense here? Seems only right, and leading us off here at number 5, a player that's been incredibly impressive this season for the Mountaineers, and what a transfer pickup this has been, and of course that is defensive back Beanie Bishop, coming out with a 71.6 defensive grade in this one, according to PFF. And an excellent game here from Beanie Bishop. I believe he added 5 more pass breakups to his national leading total there. That's right. West Virginia's starting cornerback, Beanie Bishop, leads the nation in pass breakups and is very close to breaking the season record for pass breakups at West Virginia. And there's a good chance he will finish the season with the most pass breakups a West Virginia defensive back has ever had. So that just goes to show what type of season that Beanie Bishop is having thus far. And another good game from him, as PFF grades him out as a 71.6 there on defense, to come out as the 5th highest graded Mountaineer on that side of the football. Moving on to number 4, where we have another player within that secondary, and this guy I thought stood out to the naked eye, in my opinion, watching the game. I thought it was his best game as a Mountaineer. He was really all over the field, making a lot of good tackles, and he's really strung together a couple of good performances in a row now. And of course, that's Anthony Wilson, the transfer in from Georgia Southern. And speaking of pass breakups, he had a good one of his own in this game, where he forced an incompletion on the much taller BYU tight end, who has been a very strong tight end for them that many believe can be an NFL player. And Anthony Wilson was giving up a big height difference there and still made a play, hit him hard enough for him to force the incompletion there. And Anthony Wilson, I think, is really improving in pass coverage, which is what I love to see. We knew he was a sure tackler coming in from his days at Georgia Southern, and he's continued that, but his pass coverage has looked a lot better here in recent weeks, and hopefully that continues. Graded out well in this game on the defensive side, 4th highest graded Mountaineer on that side, 73.5 grade. And then moving on to the 3rd highest graded Mountaineer on defense in this one, just inching out Anthony Wilson by 1/10 of a point, is Hammond Russell, the reserve Mountaineer nose tackle. Really probably the best game of his career as well, 73.6 grade. Comes in, plays nearly 20 snaps in this game, and really made an impact, especially late. I remember him and Asani Redwood teaming up for one of West Virginia's 3 sacks they had in this game, and bringing back that pass rush was a big reason West Virginia was able to secure this victory and have a bit of a resurgence defensively. And of course, the defensive line plays a part in that, and Hammond Russell played a part in that defensive line success in this game, coming out as the 3rd highest graded Mountaineer on defense, according to PFF, with the 73.6 grade. And then moving on to our top 2 here, and these are kind of the 2 leaders of the West Virginia defense this season, so it's fitting that in a game where they played, one of their best games of the season, that these 2 guys are up here at the top. And of course, that's Lee Coba, the West Virginia linebacker, coming in with a 75.6 grade here at the number 2 spot. And I've loved seeing Lee Coba grade out high here in recent weeks, because earlier in the season I thought he was playing good when I would watch the games, but he would come out low in the player grades. That's changed here recently, and maybe that's one of the reasons West Virginia's defense has had a couple of good performances back-to-back weeks. They've, won the turnover battle by forcing turnovers on the defensive side, and they've also, done a much better job tackling, much better job rushing the passer. As we know, West Virginia had been struggling in that aspect, and I thought Lee Coba was really doing a good job pressuring the passer at times in this game, to go along with his great run defense, which is something that we've always expected to see from Lee, to come out as the 2nd highest graded Mountaineer on defense in this game with the 75.6 defensive grade. And then number 1, how about this grade for Aubrey Burks? What a phenomenal game from a guy who is really coming into his own now following his return from his scary injury that he suffered in that game against TCU. Now he's playing his best football of the season, and we are seeing everything that the coaches talked about in the offseason really come to fruition, especially in this contest with that phenomenal 93.3 defensive grade. That's just extremely high grade there for Aubrey Burks. And I think the standout play for me, of course, he had some pass breakups. He had the solid tackles that he always has, but his coverage grade was 92.1 in this game. That's phenomenal for one. But the standout play I thought was when BYU finally made a play on offense, looked like they were going to go into the red zone. Instead, Aubrey Burks holds up the guy, strips the football. Not only does he get the football out, but he also recovers the ball. So, that's just the impact that Aubrey Burks was having on this game in a nutshell there, summed up in one play, and he really just put together an amazing performance on that West Virginia defense to come out as the highest graded player on that side with a outstanding 93.3 defensive grade. So those are the top 5 highest graded Mountaineers. On the defensive side, let's flip it over and talk a little bit about the West Virginia offense, who had an excellent performance of their own. It's finally, maybe the first time this season we've been able to have both of these groups performing well in one game, because early in the season we had the defense performing well, offense wasn't doing so hot, and then the inverse of that was going on over these recent weeks. Here in this game, we get both of those units really standing out, and the offense really did it. Nearly 600 yards of offense, over 300 yards rushing, over 220 yards passing. So just a great performance overall for the West Virginia offense. Let's take a look at some of the standouts from that performance according to PFF's offensive grades. And at number 5 here, we've got Preston Fox, 72.4 grade, and not surprised to see him pop up on this list. Believe he only had 3 receptions in this game, but they were very impactful, and he's also a guy that does the little things right that's always going to improve his grade. But of course, the standout play for him was going up in the back of the end zone and making the catch for West Virginia on a good ball that Garrett Green put up there, and Preston Fox continues to make impressive catches, especially going up and high pointing the football. We've seen it over the past few games. It continued here in this one, and he really had a great performance to come out as the 5th highest graded Mountaineer on offense with the 72.9 grade. And how about the guy that threw him that touchdown? Garrett Green continues to really be an important piece of this West Virginia offense, the guy that kind of makes it all go, obviously, as the trigger man. And in this game, he comes out with a 72.9 grade offensively. Obviously, in the stat sheet, he doesn't really have any eye-popping numbers this week. He said in his post-game press conference he wasn't expecting to have to run the ball as much, and he didn't need to. So West Virginia, saved his legs. He did have some good plays in the passing game. Yet again, continues to be very strong, throwing that deep ball, and, just a consistent performance. And the most important thing you can say from that performance, and something that he's done a good job of this entire season, is managing the game well and taking care of the football. Didn't have any turnovers. Hopefully he continues that great trend that he's been on in terms of taking care of the football. No turnovers for Garrett Green. One of the reasons that he grades out highly here is the 4th highest graded Mountaineer on offense with the 72.9 grade. Then moving on here to number 3, and that's, of course, the man that's snapping that football to Garrett Green, and that is, in my opinion, the best center in college football, Zach Frazier, coming out with a 77.4 offensive grade in this one to be the 3rd highest graded Mountaineer in this win over BYU. And when West Virginia is running for over 300 yards in the game, look no further than Zach Frazier as a big reason why. He was really just bullying guys out there, especially on the goal line. You can go watch some of those plays. He's blocking guys all the way into nearly the back of the end zone, and he just continues to really perform well this season. He's going to be up for some postseason awards at the end of the year, and that's something that not a lot of Mountaineer football players over the years have been able to say. So shout out to Zach Frazier, another good performance on another great season here, 77.4 grade. And then how about this surprise here at number 2? First time that we've gotten 2 Mountaineer quarterbacks here in the top 5, if I'm not mistaken. But pretty cool to see. Of course, Nico didn't play that many snaps there, coming in late in the game, as he only gets about 15 snaps in the game, but did some great things with those snaps. The one that really stands out to me is that jet sweep action, and they fake it, and it's the quarterback counter or power look off of that, and he really broke a big run on, I believe, his very first play in the game, had an explosive chunk run. So good to see Nico Martin Starkey will continue to run the football well, and when he was in there late in the game, made good decisions also. That's why he ends up with this high grade. So we didn't get to see a lot of Nico, but yet again, as it has been the case throughout this season, when we do see Nico, he performs well also, and that's great to see because after Garrett Green moves on, he's going to be the future of this West Virginia football program, and he shows why when he gets on the field. PFF agrees here. Second highest graded Mountaineer on offense in this one with the 79.9 grade. And then for the second consecutive week, grading out as the highest graded player on the West Virginia offense, running back, true freshman running back, I should say, Jaheim White, 80.7 player grade here on the offensive side. And you just can't say enough good things about Jaheim White. I mean, the guy's averaging nearly 9 yards a carry, and, it's no small sample size now. He has over 50 carries on the season and still is keeping that high yards per carry average. So he really is just time and time again showing the explosive player that he can be and why he's going to be a big part of this West Virginia offense, not only throughout the rest of this season, but, of course, in the future, moving on over the next few years as he's only going to continue to get better and better throughout his West Virginia career. We're talking about a player that can be an absolute superstar, not only within the conference, but potentially nationally as well. West Virginia, I don't think, has had a guy like him in quite a while in terms of being able to just be really exciting to watch, explosive home run hitting ability, and Jaheim White showed some of that in this game. 230-plus yard runs, 10 yards per carry, over 140 yards rushing, led the West Virginia Mountaineers in rushing in this game, and we're going to see more and more of him throughout these final weeks of the season. And the 1-2 punch of Jaheim White and C.J. Donaldson is going to be a threat for opposing offenses. And you guys know I love Jaheim White, so I love to see him ranking out highly here, not only looking good to us as fans when we watch the games, but PFF agreeing also, as it is back-to-back weeks now. He comes out as the highest graded West Virginia player on offense in this win over BYU, coming out with the 80.7 offensive grade. So there you have it, Mountaineer Nation, the top 5 highest graded Mountaineers on offense and defense, according to PFF, after West Virginia's blowout victory over BYU to give West Virginia their 6th win on the season overall and their 4th win in the Big 12 conference play, now 6-3 and 4-2, respectively, on the 2023 season here. So looking for an exciting conclusion to the end of this year, and it's good to know that West Virginia has some standout players to help them finish out this season strong, potentially. But how are you feeling about these players that showed up in the player grades this week, or are there any other grades you would like to know about? Anything you want info on there, be sure let us know in the comments down below. We really appreciate those interactions as we continue to try and grow the Country Roads webcast community throughout Mountaineer Nation. Having said that, as always, I'm Jordan Cruz, and until next time, let's go Mountaineers.